Και πάμε.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, καλησπέρα σας. Ξεκινάμε την πρώτη συνάντηση δικτύωσης του Innovation Ready με θέμα Βιοιατρικές Τεχνολογίες του αύριο, σήμερα. Η καινοτομία αποτελεί βασικό μοχλό ανάπτυξης και προσφέρει σημαντικά ωφέλη σε επιχειρήσεις, καταναλωτές και την οικονομία στο σύνολό της. Το Innovation Ready είναι η νέα πρωτοβουλία του ΣΕΒ που έχει στόχο την ανάπτυξη συνεργασιών μεταξύ της βιομηχανίας, μικρομεσαίων επιχειρήσεων, startups και της ερευνητικής κοινότητας, ώστε να επιταχυνθεί ο μετασχηματισμός της καινοτομίας σε εμπορεύσιμα προϊόντα και υπηρεσίες υψηλής προστιθέμενης αξίας με ανταγωνιστικό πλεονέκτημα για τις ελληνικές επιχειρήσεις. Ξεκινάμε σήμερα με τις βιοιατρικές τεχνολογίες και θα ακολουθήσουν αντίστοιχες εκδηλώσεις δικτύωσης με θέμα τεχνολογίες και λύσεις Industry 4, τεχνολογίες αγροδιατροφικού τομέα, κυκλική οικονομία και ενέργεια. Σίγουρα σε όλες αυτές τις συναντήσεις δικτύωσης που στόχο έχουν να φέρουν κοντά το οικοσύστημα καινοτομίας με τις επιχειρήσεις για την ανάπτυξη συνεργασιών, είναι σημαντική η προσωπική επαφή. Αλλά τι να κάνουμε, προσαρμοζόμαστε στις συνθήκες και προχωράμε διαδικτυακά. Σήμερα έχουμε τη χαρά να έχουμε μαζί μας 11 εταιρείες που θα μας παρουσιάσουν τα καινοτόμα προϊόντα τους και θα μας εξηγήσουν τις συνεργασίες που αναζητούν από τη βιομηχανία και τις επιχειρήσεις. Συνεργασίες που μπορεί να αφορούν licensing, distribution, co-development ή άλλες. Στόχος μας είναι να ενημερωθείτε, να ανακαλύψετε και να αδράξετε επιχειρηματικές ευκαιρίες, αξιοποιώντας τεχνολογίες σε ώριμο στάδιο που αναζητούν τρόπους εισόδου στην αγορά. Προκειμένου να είναι πιο αποτελεσματική η εκδήλωση αυτή, έχουμε διαμορφώσει ένα ερωτηματολόγιο, το οποίο σας έχει σταλεί με τον σύνδεσμο σύνδεση στην εκδήλωση. Θα θέλαμε να συμπληρώσετε στο ερωτηματολόγιο το ενδιαφέρον σας για κάθε μια από τις εταιρείες που θα παρουσιαστούν. Όπως βλέπετε και στην οθόνη υπάρχει μια διαβάθμιση του ενδιαφέροντος ανάμεσα στο «δεν ενδιαφέρει την επιχείρησή μου». Θα ήθελα να ενημερώνομαι για την εξέλιξη της επιχείρησης, οπότε εμείς θα σας ενημερώνουμε σε τακτά χρονικά διαστήματα για τα επιτεύγματα και τα νέα βήματα της επιχείρησης. Ενδιαφέρομαι να μάθω περισσότερα για την επιχείρηση και υπάρχει ενδιαφέρον για επένδυση στην επιχείρηση. Στις δύο τελευταίες περιπτώσεις θα προχωρήσουμε άμεσα στη διοργάνωση B2B συναντήσεων και γι' αυτό το λόγο σας ζητάμε μέσα στο ερωτηματολόγιο να μας αναφέρετε τη διαθεσιμότητά σας μέσα στην επόμενη εβδομάδα, αλλά και τα στελέχη της εταιρείας σας που επιθυμείτε να συμμετάσχουν στη B2B συνάντηση. Όπως ανέφερα στο mail που σας στείλαμε χθες, υπάρχει το link του ερωτηματολογίου, αλλά μπορείτε επίσης να μπείτε στο ερωτηματολόγιο και μέσω του QR code που θα εμφανιστεί τώρα στην οθόνη. Επαναλαμβάνω ότι ο στόχος της εκδήλωσης δεν είναι γενική ενημέρωση, αλλά η δικτύωση και η ανάπτυξη συνεργασιών. Και γι' αυτό η εκδήλωση είναι κλειστή. Έχουν προσκληθεί δηλαδή μόνο εταιρείες του κλάδου που πιστεύουμε ότι θα είχαν ένα σχετικό ενδιαφέρον για την ανάπτυξη συνεργασίας. Μετά από κάθε παρουσίαση μπορείτε να θέτετε διευκρινιστικές ερωτήσεις πατώντας το Raise Hand. Δίνω τώρα το λόγο στον κύριο Μάρκο Βερέμη, πρόεδρο της Επιτροπής Καινοτομίας και μέλος του ΔΟΥΣΟΥ του ΣΕΒ, για ένα σύντομο χαιρετισμό. Με ενημερώνουν ότι έχει κάποιο πρόβλημα η κάμερα του κυρίου Βερέμη. Οπότε μπορούμε να περιμένουμε για ένα λεπτό. Ωραία, τον έχουμε.
Ωραία, σας καλωσορίζω και εγώ. Ευχαριστώ πολύ, Μάκη. Ήθελα να πω δύο λόγια απλά ότι η Επιτροπή Καινοτομίας του ΣΕΒ έγινε πλέον μία από τις σημαντικές επιτροπές του ΣΕΒ ακριβώς διότι υπάρχει πεποίθηση ότι η καινοτομία θα παίξει ένα πάρα πολύ σημαντικό ρόλο τα επόμενα 10 χρόνια, αν θέλουμε να αλλάξουν τα δεδομένα της ελληνικής οικονομίας. Και η λογική μας είναι πάρα πολύ απλή, ότι το μεγάλο πρόβλημα της χώρας είναι το εμπορικό μας ισοζύγιο. Για να έχουμε περισσότερες εξαγωγές πρέπει να έχουμε πιο διαφοροποιημένα και πιο ανταγωνιστικά προϊόντα και σε γενικές γραμμές ο μόνος τρόπος για να το πετύχεις αυτό είναι μέσα από καινοτομία και επένδυση σε έρευνα και ανάπτυξη, έτσι ώστε να διαφοροποιηθούν τα προϊόντα σου και να μπορέσεις διεθνώς να έχεις μεγαλύτερη ανταγωνιστικότητα. Αυτή είναι η γενική λογική μας για το ρόλο της καινοτομίας. Τώρα, από εκεί και πέρα, στην Ελλάδα έχουμε διαφορετικούς πυλώνες καινοτομίας, δηλαδή σίγουρα συμβαίνει έρευνα σημαντική μέσα στις μεγάλες εταιρείες, αλλά πρέπει να αυξηθεί πολύ παραπάνω. Συμβαίνει πλέον να έχουμε μια έντονη ανάπτυξη σε startups, διότι και με τα equity funds υπάρχει πια η χρηματοδότηση και για να βγουν μέσα από ερευνητικά ιδρύματα πραγματικές εταιρείες, αλλά και σε επίπεδο διεθνώς Ελλήνων ερευνητών, επιχειρηματιών, να τους φέρουμε στην Ελλάδα για να στήσουν το R&D τους. Και αυτό επίσης έχει μια μεγάλη ανάπτυξη και αυτό το βλέπουμε πολύ καθαρά και στα νούμερα που έχουμε δει να αυξάνουν πάρα πολύ στο επίπεδο και του πλήθους των εταιριών και στις κεφαλοποίησεις των εταιριών. Κάτι το οποίο το έχω πει πάρα πολλές φορές, είναι πριν 10 χρόνια ήταν περίπου μηδενική η κεφαλαιοποίηση των εταιριών τεχνολογίας και startup στην Ελλάδα και πλέον το νούμερο αυτό είναι σίγουρα πάνω από 3,5 δις σαν κεφαλαιοποίηση. Οπότε νομίζουμε ότι αυτό που κάνουμε σήμερα είναι μια πολύ σοβαρή προσπάθεια και μια αρχή στο να παντρέψουμε δύο μέχρι τώρα σχετικά διαφορετικούς κόσμους, που είναι από τη μία τα startups και από την άλλη οι μεγάλες σοβαρές εταιρείες μέλη του ΣΕΒ. Ελπίζω να είναι επιτυχής η σημερινή εκδήλωση και να ανταλλάξετε χρήσιμες πληροφορίες και ιδέες.
Ευχαριστούμε, Μάρκο. Ξεκινάμε τώρα με τις παρουσιάσεις. Τονίζω ότι η διάρκεια της κάθε παρουσίασης είναι αυστηρά 5 λεπτά και στο τέλος κάθε παρουσίασης έχουμε 2 λεπτά για να απαντηθούν ερωτήσεις του κοινού. Τις ερωτήσεις τις θέτετε με raise hand. Καλώ τώρα την εταιρεία Advantis Medical Imaging, που προσφέρει αυτοματοποιημένη επεξεργασία πολλαπλών εξετάσεων μαγνητικής τομογραφίας.
Good evening, everyone. Starting by introducing myself, my name is Viοιατρική and I'm CEO and Head of Research in Advantis Medical Imaging. On behalf of Advantis, I would like to thank SEV and all of you for giving us this opportunity to present our company in today's event. In Advantis Medical Imaging, we develop software applications that make medical imaging more accessible, data-driven, and user-friendly. Our market entry product is called BrainSMD, and it is a purely web-based neuroimaging software application designed for the processing of brain MRI exams. Apart from the highly accurate algorithms that can help the doctor conclude more safely to a final diagnosis for each case, BrainSMD is also the first all-in-one neuroimaging software, enabling the doctors to combine various modalities during the processing pipeline. At the same time, BrainSMD is really simple to use and highly automated, helping the doctors integrate advanced brain protocols in their daily routine without increasing the overall time that needs to be spent for the processing of each case. And last but not least, due to its web nature, BrainSMD is offered under flexible annual subscription plans, enabling small and medium diagnostic centers and hospitals to upgrade the services that they can offer to patients without needing to invest a large amount of money up front. Our users are mainly radiologists and neuroradiologists, but due to BrainSMD's ease of use, we have noticed that other specialties like neurosurgeons or even neurologists have adopted BrainSMD as well. Next slide, please. The regulatory approvals are really important in the medical field, so I should mention at this stage that our company is ISO 13485 certified, and BrainSMD, our product, has already a CE mark as it is certified as a Class 2A medical device by BSI Group, which is the largest notified body in Europe. Regarding FDA, we have already filed our application for 510(k) clearance, and we are waiting for the approval within the following months. We have already people who have trusted us, and they have officially integrated Brainance in their clinical diagnostic pipelines. Our customers are located both in Greece and the overall Europe, and we are really proud as, especially in case of Greece, they are among the largest hospitals and diagnostic centers in the country. Next slide, please. We have a great team which lies behind everything that we have achieved so far. It consists of 13 people with a great variety of backgrounds that help us in multiple directions in order to grow solid. Regarding our future plans, we are currently working on establishing our presence in Europe and increasing our sales cycle and customer base. We are also expanding in the US. We already have some trials that are running for research purposes in big institutions like the University of Michigan. And as soon as we obtain the FDA, we will be able to expand more aggressively in the clinical sector. Regarding the product, we are constantly working on further optimizations on Brainance MD in order to increase the overall automation level through the integration of machine learning approaches. For the past months, we have also been working on a new product for the processing of prostate MRI exams, which will be launched for further targeted testing at the end of this month. The integration of the prostate tool helps us move further towards our goal of creating a holistic and overall advantage platform where every doctor will be able to easily process MRI exams from multiple organs using state-of-the-art methodologies. Next slide, please. So coming to the ask from Sev, so far we haven't explored the market of clinical trials, which is a really interesting segment in our sector. Thus, we are looking for collaboration with clinical partners like pharmaceutical companies towards the integration of Brainance MD or our recently developed prostate software in clinical trials or other research projects that may be conducted. We are also looking for collaboration with business partners with whom we can work under certain distribution or reseller agreements. Finally, as I mentioned previously, we are currently expanding in the US, so we would really appreciate any help from experienced key individuals towards this direction on the basis of the expansion of our current network or funding or any other business activities. Thank you.
Ευχαριστούμε, Ζωή. Υπάρχουν κάποιες ερωτήσεις από το κοινό. Να ενημερώσω ότι οι παρουσιάσεις όλες θα γίνονται στα αγγλικά, καθώς έχουμε τη χαρά στο κοινό να έχουμε και κάποιους ξένους με ενδιαφέρον για τις 11 αυτές εταιρείες. Δεν έχουμε κάποια ερώτηση προς το παρόν, οπότε προχωράμε με την AIM Brain, που διαθέτει ένα νέο σύνολο μορίων με ιδιότητες όχι μόνο διαγνωστικές, αλλά και θεραπευτικές σε ένα ευρύ φάσμα εγκεφαλικών παθήσεων.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michalis Boutaris. I'm the director and founder of Athro Innovations, which is the company behind AIMBrain. I'll be presenting 3 projects tonight. The special purpose of Athroa is to commercialize intellectual property. So it's a pretty novel initiative in the Greek innovation ecosystem. Basically, we cater to inventors that do not wish to become entrepreneurs themselves, but have an entrepreneurial spirit. So we license the patents or the IP and help develop products or do whatever is necessary until this intellectual property can become more easily acquired, adopted, off-taken by the industry. So we usually do that through a joint development agreement. So we work typically from TRL 1, 2, until 5 or 6, when an industrial off-taker or partner takes up the purpose of the task of commercialization after certifying the product. So we are focusing the first project in this technology of pharmaceutical and an innovative discovery, I would say. It's an invention of molecules that cross the blood-brain barrier. And with the next slide, I can tell you a few more things. The molecules we thus use as theranostics, so they have both diagnostic and therapeutic uses for a wide spectrum of brain disease. So you could identify Alzheimer's disease, possibly cure it, other central nervous system diseases, as well as brain tumors. Of course, there's always the option, since they do cross the blood-brain barrier, to be used as carrier molecules for other drugs, like painkillers. So the market opportunity here is to advance the TRL of the drug, the prospect of a sale to a bigger pharmaceutical outside of Greece, or even certified for a scope of more limited use. Next slide, please. So what are these? They're complexes of radioactive technetium and stable rhenium. They're stable, compact, flat, neutral, and lipophilic. So all these are properties that enable these molecules to cross the blood-brain barrier. And they also mimic the potent and multifaceted pharmacophore 2-phenyl-benzothiazole. So in vivo experiments, not only in vitro, have shown pretty promising rates of crossing. And next slide. So let's look at the molecules. This is what they look like. They were synthesized for high penetration, and they have similar biodistribution properties with other technetium agents applied for diagnosis and analogous rhenium agents applied for therapy. Next slide, please. So there is a patent, and it's one of the few Greek patents that I think we're proud to say that have a clean search report. They're quite inventive, unique, and strong. So their patent has been granted, and we're now proceeded with protection in USA, several countries in the EU, China, and India. So in vitro results suggest that for Alzheimer's disease in particular, there's very high affinity for the amyloid plaques that characterize the pathology of AD, some inhibition of beta amyloid fibril formation, as well as reduction of that formation, as well as antioxidant activity. For brain tumors, we've seen high and specific cell uptake, good cytotoxicity, and negligible uptake in healthy neurons. So the question is, how can we move on to more in vivo trials? Next slide. And this is where the industry comes. So we try to sub-license or acquire the technology to a Greek pharmaceutical or an international pharmaceutical that may want to take up further the clinical trials. And we will support that process, both in terms of further R&D and protecting the IP and some additional capital at risk to bring up the product to TRL4. What I haven't said is that we do have capital, so we're not a typical accelerator, we're more hybrid. So thanks to the investment of Big Pie, one of the leading VCs in Greece, we're able to do that and offer support to the inventors. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the B2B meetings later on.
Ευχαριστούμε, Μιχάλη. Ερωτήσεις από το κοινό? Δεν έχουμε ερώτηση, οπότε καλώ την εταιρεία EnzyQuest που αναπτύσσει ένζημα με εφαρμογές στην in vitro μοριακή διάγνωση, όπως και στην περίπτωση του κορονοϊού.
Good evening. My name is Dimitris Koutsioulis, and I'm representing EnzyQuest as CEO of the company. EnzyQuest was founded quite recently, almost 10 months ago, and by scientists from the Foundation for Research and Technology and executives from the field of innovation and technology transfer from Greece and USA. The company is headquartered in Science and Technology Park of Crete, with the aim to develop enzymes and reagents used in research methods in molecular biology and biotechnology. You can proceed to the first slide now. In 2019, we received a VC fund from Unifund, from the Equifund investment platform, and EnzyQuest is entering the global market with 70 products already included in our portfolio and more under development. EnzyQuest's mission is to maintain a high-quality, high-reactivity enzyme manufacturing capability with applications in molecular biology and biotechnology. However, we have a strong innovation, which is we have established a unique combination of bioinformatic and wet lab approaches towards the identification and the discovery of enzymes with novel properties and pioneering applications from extremophiles, with applications in the research and in vitro diagnostic market. We have already signed a commercial agreement with Forth ITE for exclusive commercial exploitation of molecular biology products, and we have also established a distribution network in Greece and Cyprus. Next slide, please. So, although out of our strict business plan, the company moved immediately to produce the enzyme necessary for the molecular diagnosis of SARS-CoV-2. The first big success came for us in August, since EnzyQuest is a member of an 8-partnered consortium that has been awarded an EU funding of 2.4 million euros. The aim of the project is the market release of a portable device to carry out a test for SARS-CoV-2 at the point of care. And EnzyQuest has a very crucial role, since our company is responsible for designing, manufacturing, and commercializing the enzymes and all reagents required for this kit. The second thing, and another thing that we did at the same time, was that we designed and developed the reagents and the protocol required for the standard RT-qPCR technique used in specialized diagnostic laboratories worldwide. So, the test is under validation and exhibits high sensitivity and reproducibility. The limit of detection of EnzyQuest test is from 5 to 8 copies per reaction, highlighting this test as a test of high to extreme sensitivity. Also, at this point, I would like to mention that our test, EnzyQuest kit, and the modified protocol was also used by the University of the Aristoteles University of Thessaloniki, and it was used for the detection of the coronavirus in Thessaloniki sewage and wastewater. And there was a press release actually yesterday about that. So next slide. So this is what we've done the last 10 months. Our company was only 2 months old at the beginning of the Greek lockdown. However, we started with the in silico design of the reagent needed for manufacturing the SARS-CoV-2 test. In parallel, we designed the protocol and standardized the small-scale production of the key components. During autumn, we have performed large-scale production of the enzymes. At this point, we have the capacity to produce reagents for almost 500,000 tests per month. And our upcoming goals are to proceed with the certification and the commercial exploitation of the kit early next year. Next slide, please. So, why EnzyQuest? EnzyQuest is the only manufacturer of entirely domestic SARS-CoV-2 RT-qPCR reagent kit. Furthermore, we have now the technology to develop and manufacture other molecular in vitro diagnostic tests. And also, we have a unique artificial intelligence and wet lab combination for the identification of enzymes with unique properties for state-of-the-art application. Last month, we have developed such an enzyme with applications for point-of-care molecular diagnostics, and hopefully we're going to patent this enzyme. So, what we seek from the companies out there? EnzyQuest can be an OEM manufacturer of enzymatic components for IVD applications. The first example is the SARS-CoV-2 RT-qPCR kit. We also seek worldwide distributors of our whole portfolio. Also, upon certification, we also seek distributor for the EnzyQuest SARS-CoV-2 RT-qPCR test. And we are open for co-development of new molecular IVD tests for other viruses or pathogens for human, veterinary, or agro applications. Next slide. So, as I told you, we are a group of scientists and executives from the field of technology transfer from Greece and the USA. And currently, our unit is under the processes in order to be certified with ISO 13485. So thank you for your attention, and I would be glad to hear any question.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Έχουμε ερωτήσεις. Δεν έχουμε ερωτήσεις από το κοινό. Οπότε συνεχίσουμε με την GSTEC που διαθέτει ένα ισχυρό δίπλωμα ευρεσιτεχνίας για καθετήρα με κινητό μπαλόνι.
Hello again. So this is the second license of Athro Innovations. It's a mobile balloon catheter. I know that for some of you it sounds a bit esoteric. I will explain to you what it is and how important it is. Next slide, please. It's a strong patent for a catheter, endovascular catheter with a mobile balloon, which can be a game changer in angioplasty. Essentially, we can minimize the risk of complications and delays in angioplasty surgeries as well as atherectomy. It enhances the control a surgeon has when approaching an occlusion in the vessels, as well as trying to do any kind of operation within the vessels, blood vessels. It is a game changer because in a way, this is the first patent that talks about a mobile balloon. There used to be catheters. Then there was an invention for a catheter with a balloon that offered a better support for the surgeon. Now there will be a mobile balloon for the catheters that greatly enhances the control that the surgeon has because it increases support, increases pushability at not a very higher cost and not a very challenging manufacturing capacity. Next slide, please. So this is an invention by a private surgeon. It eliminates the need for open surgery in cases with total occlusion. It reduces the uncertainty and expected surgery time of angioplasty cases with severe or even borderline stenosis, with benefits obviously for all stakeholders. Patients face fewer complications, physicians have lower exposure to radiation and of course less stress on potential complications. And clinics of course have better theater utilization rates. GSTEC improves support in case of atherectomy, as well as better access at points far from the catheter's entry point. It relies on a basic mechanical principle that enables the advancement of the catheter while its balloon is inflated. So the intrinsic mobility of the balloon enables the catheter to move with increased pushability and without losing support. It is attractive both in terms of manufacturing feasibility and cost effectiveness, and it's truly innovative based on the patent granted both by EPO and USPO, paving the way for an entire new category of catheters. Next slide, please. I'll try to give you a visual representation of how it works because it's a bit counterintuitive. So what happens today is the guide wire of a standard catheter is too soft to penetrate the occlusion. The GSTEC catheter can approach the occlusion. We have a balloon, then it can go in, and then while supported being harder, the catheter can penetrate. Next slide, please. This is up to now, it's how any standard mobile balloon catheter would work. But now what happens is the balloon can be deflated, move a bit forward, and then once again it's reinflated, the catheter can move inside the occlusion and it can cross the blockage because it's harder. And because it's moved just a little bit harder, the transfer of engineering-wise, the force from the distal end to the proximal end. And once the catheter has passed, then it can be retrieved, the guide wire has passed. Next slide, please. And then the stent can be deployed and the circulation restored. So how does this work? I mean, it sounds a bit, again, esoteric for people who are not real experts in this. But the movement of the balloon is achieved with the use of two mobile external rings outside the body of the patient. You have one inner wire circuit, and then there's one control handle, which is found at the proximal end of the device. And so catheter moves inside the vessel, even when it is inflated, the balloon, and basically anchored within the vessel. Next slide. So here's the patent. It was granted, officially published last month, but it's been around since 3-4 years. It's gone through all that process, a very clean patent granted in 10 European countries and the USA. Next slide. So what we seek a pioneer in medtech. This is very specialized. It has to have a global presence. So if it's a Greek player, then it will give a very, very considerable competitive advantage in the global market if sub-licensed or acquired by a Athro. So we will provide the support needed for additional patent family expansion, as well as supporting R&D in the context of a joint development agreement, which is how Athro usually works. And what we seek is basically legal manufacturer that can certify the product. It's not easy. It's a quite challenging medical class. But then once you introduce to the market a whole new category of catheters without a much higher price tag, it will be an obvious advantage. Thank you very much, and look forward to follow up.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, Μιχάλη. Μήπως υπάρχουν ερωτήσεις? Πιθανώς και θα είναι πιο εύκολο να γίνουν ερωτήσεις στις B2B συναντήσεις. Για αυτό το λόγο, έτσι σας θυμίζω σε αυτό το σημείο ότι είναι σημαντικό και για την επιτυχία της πρωτοβουλίας μας να καταγράψετε το ενδιαφέρον σας για κάθε μία από τις εταιρείες που παρουσιάζονται στο ερωτηματολόγιο. Η πρόσβαση στο ερωτηματολόγιο μπορεί να γίνει, εκτός από το link που σας έχουμε στείλει, και μέσω του QR code που εμφανίζεται στην οθόνη. Καλώ τώρα την εταιρεία K-Invent που αναπτύσσει ένα σύστημα συνδεδεμένων συσκευών για την ταχύτερη αποκατάσταση της φυσικής κίνησης μετά από επεμβάσεις.
Καλησπέρα σε όλους. Hello everyone, I'm Athanassis and welcome to K-Invent. We are a Greek and French startup that offers professional solutions for monitoring and measuring progress in rehabilitation and sports. I'm here with you today because I believe that numbers have a unique way of guiding man forward. And in fact, today we are in a context where the patient is asking more objective metrics to monitor his progress, and at the same time, health systems ask professionals to provide those metrics as well. And that's why we have created K-Force. K-Force is the first centralized solution to assess and monitor progress on strength, balance, and motion of a patient. It merges the gap between rehabilitation and physical activity, as it is addressed to physical therapists, physical trainers, sports doctors, and sport coaches. K-Force is composed by an application and 6 sensors to cover almost all of the functional assessment and work in rehabilitation. We have integrated our biomechanical expertise to create the data, rehab gaming to motivate the patient and engage him in the process, and design for maximum practicality, and Internet of Things technologies to centralize the whole data. We sell the software and the hardware. We also help pharmaceutical companies in clinical studies implicating functional assessment at home or in a hospital, like grip strength or joint range of motion during a trial. Today, we're a company of 16 people. We've been in the market for 3 years now, between France and Greece. So since 2017, we aim to take patients by the hand and guide them to a better quality of life. And that's why 3,000 professional users, the 10,000 sensors already in the market, make rehabilitation pleasant and motivate patients and athletes, and this 10,000 times a month. Actually, we develop our methods in collaboration with the best European sports clubs, with their medical departments, as well as internationally renowned clinics, such as the Mayo Clinic in the US or the Parisian hospitals. And we have just started clinical trials for the functional efficiency assessment of a new knee arthritis stem cell treatment invented here in Montpellier, as well as pathologies, chronic pathologies with Biogen. Next, please. After our product launch in 2017 and the first fundraising with Unifund, we have conquered Europe, and now we are going towards Asia and the USA. We are expanding also to home rehabilitation with our system K-Home, strengthening the link between the therapist and the patient in those curious times. And to accelerate the pace, we targeted the second round in 2021. And today, actually, we are 16 passionate people, a structured team to master our product from A to Z. This was the choice that we did from the beginning of the company, because this is the best way to go forward fast. So we have everything we need in terms of design and development, manufacturing, certification, and also sales. But currently, we are in the process of hypergrowth. So we are tripling and we need to go fast. So numerous challenges arise. First, we need more contacts with health providers. So we need you to help us talk to major clinics and hospitals, but also to insurance companies. We need more credibility and more contracts. And we need also your industrial network. We need to access to regulatory organisms and manufacturing skills. And finally, we need acceleration capital for our next round in 2021 from experts in the medical device sector. But on the other hand, I think we can help. Actually, we can give you access to the French health tech, like hospitals, health providers, startups in the sector. We can help you access research institutes in sports and rehabilitation. But we can also help whenever functional assessment is included in a drug study, whether this is done in a research facility or remotely at home. And of course, we have already built a commercial network abroad, and we're going to the US as well. Thank you.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, Θανάση. Έχουμε κάποιες ερωτήσεις για την και Invent. Όχι, δεν έχουμε ερώτηση. Συνεχίζουμε με την εταιρεία Langaware, που διαθέτει μία πλατφόρμα για τη γρήγορη και ακριβή διάγνωση νευροεκφυλιστικών και ψυχιατρικών παθήσεων.
Hello, my name is Vasiliki Rentoumi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Langaware. Langaware is an award-winning health and deep technology startup, and it is a company in the making for the last 8 years. So Langaware is a right solution for cognitive assessment to identify neurodegenerative and psychiatric diseases. To do so, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we are detecting and monitoring digital biomarkers based on language, voice, and speech. What we offer is an efficient, fast, accurate, and totally unobtrusive solution for the diagnosis of neurodegenerative diseases. Our solution is really disruptive, as Langaware platform identifies patients 8 to 10 years earlier by detecting and monitoring voice and language biomarkers. The solution we offer is mature, as it has been tested already with 7 customers across Europe and the US, and with over 1,000 patients. On top of that, we have 2 patents with pending status, and we have already published our results in prestigious conferences. Next slide, please. The Langaware platform solution delivers a dual digital biomarker. So it is a diagnostic assistive tool on the one hand, and which can detect cognitive decline at an early stage. And on the other hand, it's a remote monitoring tool which can assess and track cognitive changes over time. Our solution is really scalable, and its features is that it is language agnostic, and it provides accurate and interpretable results for multiple languages using just quick and simple tests based on language and speech. Having said that, regarding scalability, our solution is expandable to a wide spectrum of diseases. And having said precise and interpretable, we mean that we offer to the users a high level of explainability of the provided results. Langaware offers a remote monitoring functionality, which is really crucial in nowadays. So through our solution, what we offer in the industry, it is that we are able to maximize the success of clinical trials and reduce the cost of those trials. We are able to help the industry to provide the therapeutic earlier to a wider audience. We can also track cognitive changes over time, and we are able to monitor the effectiveness of the provided treatments. And we can, of course, identify patients at risk at a very early stage, and also help the healthcare and the big medical groups to save time and costs of unnecessary referrals. Next slide, please. We are in the position to ask from the industry the IP licensing is a very a good fit for us. In essence, the industry can license the technology from Langaware in order to employ our digital biomarkers for a wide spectrum of diseases. Of course, we are very happy to co-develop and partner with the industry, and this has a goal to expand to further neurodegenerative and psychiatric diseases. And of course, our focus is our platform solution to be used as an accurate patient recruitment tool for clinical trials, as well as a population screening tool in healthcare generally. Next slide, please. So our team consists of experts from, it's an interdisciplinary team consisting of experts from various fields, from data science field and the machine learning engineering field, and from the field of psycholinguistics and linguistics and neurology. Thank you very much for attending the presentation, and I would be glad to have a follow-up discussion with each of you. Thank you.
Εξαιρετικά, Βασιλική. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Προχωράμε τώρα με την εταιρεία Νανοπλάσμας, που διαθέτει ένα kit ανίχνευσης κορονοϊού και λεγιονέλας και μια πρωτοποριακή νανοτεχνολογία για την τροποποίηση επιφανειών.
So I will say it again since I forgot to turn off the mute. So it's our honor to be here and present our company, which is a spin-off company of NCSR Demokritos. Go to the next slide, please. The core of our company is our technology, our plasma nanotechnology for surface functionalization, which can render a smooth surface like the one you can see on your left to a three-dimensional one with on-demand chemistry, as you can see on the right. Of course, this technology and several applications of this technology are patented. Go to the next slide, please. Our business idea and our vision is to create ultra-fast point-of-care diagnostics. Everybody knows the glucose meters or the pregnancy test, but here we propose molecular-based diagnostics that can be used for rapid and accurate pathogens detections. And I will show you two examples, two products that are ready right now. Go to the next slide. So the first product is about the Legionella detection. You can see on the bottom left the contents of our product. With this equipment, you can do the analysis of your water quality and detect if there is any Legionella inside. The detection scheme is based on bacteria capture, lysis, and DNA amplification on chip, which causes a color change, as you can see on the right. The sensitivity is down to 5 cells, and it is an ultra-fast and accurate method to detect pathogens. Go to the next one. The next product is based on the same platform and has the same sensitivity, is a product about the SARS-CoV-2 detection. It is a two-step protocol. You do the sampling and then the on-chip analysis. On the diagram in the middle, you can see how color change depending on the copies of the viruses. And this product is under clinical evaluation in collaboration with Pasteur, with sensitivity higher than 98.5% and specificity reaching 100%. Go to the next slide. A short timeline of our company. We were established in 2016. We were subcontractor in a food safety related project in Horizon. In 2019, we received a venture capital investment from Unifund. In 2020, we had these two products ready and our first contract with Huawei and the first sales of some of the kits, while the last 2 months we are doing pilot testing of our products for HVAC systems or solid surfaces for detection of pathogens and especially SARS-CoV-2. Go to the next one. What types of collaboration we seek? We are open to any type of collaborations. We'll be interested in distribution of our products, especially outside Greece. We can offer our unique surface modification technology either by OEM manufacturing or licensing. And we can also license the SARS-CoV-2 diagnostic product for human samples. And we can also consider equity for the CIVD certification that we are doing right now for this product in order to be used for human samples. Go to the next one. Why you should choose us? You should choose us because, you know, we have a patented technology. We are a very highly experienced team, as I will show you in the next slide. We're capable of developing new products for viruses or bacteria. And our proposition is to have molecular diagnostics with their high accuracy on the price of the cheaper immunoassays rapid tests that are available in the market. In addition, our products require no expensive equipment, no extraction step like it is required in the real-time qPCR, and results are very rapidly available even after 30 minutes. Go to the next one. Last but not least, this is our team. Myself being the managing director of this company. I have here with me Katerina Tsougeni. You cannot see her, but you know she's next to me. She's the R&D head. Of course, Dr. Gogolidis and Dr. Tserepi, who are also members of the management team and founders of the company. Dr. Petro and Dr. Kakabakos, who are participating as shareholders and are in the advisory board of the company. And very recently, we have the honor to have Timokratis with us, which is a researcher from Pasteur and especially with expertise in genomics applications and bioinformatics. The company already has 2 employees, Maria, who is working in biology, and Tefi, who is working in microfluidics and the project with Huawei. And that is all from me. In the next slide, I have my contact details, and I will be happy to share more information about our products and services to you.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, Κοσμά.
Ευχαριστώ και εγώ.
Δεν έχουμε κάποια ερώτηση, οπότε προχωράμε με την PhotoStick, που διαθέτει μια υψηλής ακρίβειας φορητή ιατρική συσκευή ανοσολογικών δοκιμών.
Hi, everyone. I will make a brief introduction to Athroa for those of you that may have just joined. So Athroa is a startup. They received an investment last year from Big Pie, one of the equity fund-backed venture capital firms. We have some similarities with the previous 2 projects. The PhotoStick technology has emerged from the research at the National Center for Science and Research, Dimokritos. It follows a different path, the path of IP licensing, not a commercialization. So this is a patent through a spin-off, you know, so it's not a spin-off, it's just a license contract. In this case, it's a patent pending technology. So we've invested a lot in developing the technology readiness level of the innovation. If we can move on to the next slide, I'll tell you a few more things. So this technology is quite open-ended. We limit it down to a medical device consisting of an instrument, so it's an optical reader, which has an array of limitless different immunoassay test kits and a software. So it's a high-precision, portable, affordable, robust, user-friendly, IoT-ready, and GDPR-compliant device. And it can be used for pandemics management, mass routine diagnostic at the point of need, and veterinary One Health. The difference, and of course, our first approach is the COVID-19 serological surveys. So we're creating an antibody test. So the difference between the nanoplasma technology is that this is an antibody test, not a virus test. So it doesn't tell you if you have SARS, if you have COVID, but it tells you if you're immune to it. So basically, our unique selling proposition is that with a test, with a photostick device, you'll be able to answer to the pressing question, am I immune? Am I protected? Whether you've actually been vaccinated or not. So this is very relevant to the biomed, pharma, tech industry, of course, diagnostics, but also defense, security, logistics, software, even insurance, and naturally public health. Telehealth, of course, is a natural recipient of such a technology. So we've invested already about 100,000 euros to take it up from TRL2, where we got it, to TRL4, and we're going to bring it up to TRL6 until we can pass it on to the industry. Next slide. So the technology in a nutshell: detect a target antibody in whole blood at extremely low levels of detection, so at nanogram per liter. So according to WHO's assured criteria, again, affordable, sensitive, specific, user-friendly, rapid, robust, equipment-free, and deliverable. So the first kit is neutralized antibody, so it's going to be the same protein segment as the one used for vaccines for COVID-19, and of course there are more to follow down the road. It supports vaccination efficacy studies, therefore, and potential use of immunity passports. A highly contentious subject, but something that will emerge in the future. Benchtop reliability, so we're talking about 95% plus sensitivity and specificity at the point of care cost, of course, at high volumes, but this is for mass deployment. And it stands out because it is label-free, it is single step, and does not rely on microfluidics in contrast to most devices at such high accuracy levels. They do, and microfluidics have several disadvantages that people in the trade are familiar with it. So it is ideal for decentralized and or digital medical and vet applications. Also monitoring buildup of antibiotics resistance. Of course, low resource settings, Africa or places where there's no national health systems. And of course, later down the road, it could improve tremendously the efficiency and convenience for high throughput testing in routine primary care for CRP or other standard everyday antibody testing. Next slide, please. So here's a current idea of how we want to prove that it's designed. It's about 20 centimeters in size. It's more like a hard drive, an external hard drive. It's a battery operated. It weighs about 1 kilo, and it gives a measurement in under 2 minutes. Again, with the reliability that I mentioned, very high levels. It is handheld. It will be cloud ready for mass serological testing anywhere and at any time at no time. Next slide, please. So somebody might think, is this like a Theranos? Well, it's not a hoax. We're trying to do it, and we're 10 years later, so technology has emerged. So with one finger prick blood sample, 2-3 drops, goes into the test kit cartridge, which contains the photonic chip. And then in the cartridge gets inserted in the reader. to detect the antibody in question. The reader itself is it's quite simple device. There are some non-trivial parts to it, but it can be industrially manufactured without very high cost or any manufacturing challenges. So apart from the battery, as I mentioned, is the advanced optics, a rudimentary CPU, and the telecom unit. Next slide, please. So what we have achieved, what I mentioned before, going from TRL2 to TRL4, we're actually proved that we have very high accuracy with real COVID-19 human samples, collaborating with leading physicians in Greece. And we're going to move on to, again, with Pasteur and other reference labs the next few months. We're already in process of doing that. And next year, we're hoping to team up with a pioneer in the health industry to bring it up to a certified level and bring it out to the market. Next slide. So what we're offering is actually de-risking the very critical death valley of going from TRL4 to TRL6, moving up to the industrial scale. We're still at the lab scale. We're going to, as a throw-up, put this money in and time to bring it up and know-how, and we're going to support the industrial off-taker for that. So we're seeking in the telehealth industry someone who wants to gain an advantage in remote POC diagnostics, and either through an IP transfer or sub-license agreement. We believe that this could give a tremendous solution to the pressing problem of, can we have an accurate antibody test? Most of them are out there at the point of care unreliable. Look forward to B2B meetings, and very honored again to be part of this session tonight.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τον Μιχάλη. Θυμίζω στο σημείο αυτό ότι θέλαμε να συμπληρώνετε κατά τη διάρκεια των παρουσιάσεων το ερωτηματολόγιο με το ενδιαφέρον σας για κάθε μία από τις εταιρείες που παρουσιάζονται. Στην οθόνη βλέπετε το QR code μέσα από το οποίο μπορείτε να έχετε πρόσβαση στο ερωτηματολόγιο, αν δεν έχετε ακόμα, αν δεν το έχετε κάνει ακόμα. Καλώ τώρα την εταιρεία Purposeful, που διαθέτει ένα ισχυρό δίπλωμα ευρασιτεχνίας με εφαρμογή σε σπάνιες ασθένειες.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you for the introduction, Maggie. So I'm George Drakakis, and I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Purposeful. Purposeful is what we call an in silico drug repurposing company. So we look for additional indications for drugs that are already on the market. Please go to the next slide. Thank you. The way we work is we combine three elements. So the main thing is our computational drug repurposing. Our primary focus is on rare disorders, and we do this using artificial intelligence and machine learning. These three help this process become a lot faster, a lot cheaper, and definitely safer. So faster, you can guess, by computational means, we can do lots of virtual screens. With the repurposing element, we don't need to do lots of phase ones, for example, because the safety element has already been established. And speaking of the safety element, it's very important to point out here that drugs on the market have an established clinical profile. So finally, the rare disorders is something that is not very much tapped from the pharmaceutical industry, at least the big pharma industry. And you can also, because they're rare disorders, you also tackle smaller groups of people. So this also brings on the cheaper element. Combining all of these three, we get that from a 4% historical likelihood to launch, we can raise it up to a 36% likelihood, so 9 times more likely to actually make it to the market. Next slide, please. I don't know that. Yeah. So with rare disorders, there's 7,000 rare disorders out there. 95% of them do not have a cure or a treatment. That means that overall 400 million people are affected worldwide, and half of these are unfortunately children. I'm going to bring up a couple of other issues with drug development from scratch. So this is not what we do, just to show you the orders of magnitude and how expensive this thing is. So the last quotes that we had was 2.7 billion on average to get a drug from idea to market. And the time on average is 13.5 years. With repurposing, this can come down to literally a few million or a few tens of million, and the average timeline is 5 years. So already this is something that a smaller company can indeed embark upon. Now, I have said this before, I'll say it again, it's not too appealing to big pharma because as you know, the payout isn't too big, they tend to rely on blockbuster drugs. Nonetheless, there still is a seriously large market out there. Please go to the next slide. A little bit about our engine. So our core technology relies on loads and loads of data, as you might have guessed. We take data from the small molecule side, publicly available data on all experimental molecules. This could be bioactivity, gene expression, pathways, phenotypic effects, off-target effects, side effects, you name it. Same goes for the disease side. So any somatic mutations, any known gene associations, RNA-seq data, even data from text mining. And as soon as we have this information and we have models in place, and we're talking hundreds of millions of models in place, then we put through the marketed drugs and we see if we can find anything new about these drugs. We have lots of stuff which I'm happy to talk about outside of this presentation regarding sanity checks. So both on the business side, is it worth pursuing, or on the scientific side, is it possible for us to do this? And then the next steps is that we tend to talk to experts, from world patient organizations, talk to experts from our own scientific cycles. We talk to our laboratory collaborators and our scientific advisors. Well, eventually we proceed to validate our predictions, and we start small from in vitro stuff. So this could be cell-based or tissue-based, and we go all the way to the animal model. Then there's a little bit of regulatory bureaucracy, and then our hope is to proceed into a proof of concept, small phase 2 trial for each disorder that we're tackling. I'll talk about this in the next slides. Please, next slide. Thank you. So in the last 2 years, we've actually managed to get quite far. We're still a very young company, so we're still learning, but we've managed to, first of all, establish ourselves as a small yet player. And we have some collaborations with pharmaceutical companies and with biotech companies. We are in constant talks with several world patient organizations, 2 of which are on board with us. We have collaborations with academia and with research organizations, and we are also going from single drugs to combinations as well. So this is a new thing that we're doing in our pipeline. In the experimental validation, I can probably talk about it in the next slide. So please proceed to the next slide. We're tackling several disease areas. Each of these projects is probably ranked in order of maturity. So I guess I'll start with the ones that we actually have preclinical validation. So we already have some in vivo preclinical validation for glioblastoma, which we are now following up with second, more advanced experiments. We have managed to find 3 combinations that work very well in glioblastoma compared to the standard of care. Similarly, for inflammatory skin disorders, we have 6 candidates that have worked in 4 different cell-based assays, which cover loads and loads of skin disorders. This could be from the common, which would be like eczema or psoriasis, all the way to rare disorders. And finally, the more advanced project that we have is for Fragile X syndrome. This is a rare autism spectrum disorder. In this case, one of our combinations managed to alleviate every single phenotype in the animal model. So 6 out of 6 behavioral tests were negated. And we are now currently in the process of designing the first clinical trial in a small group of patients, 10 to 15 people, and we've already managed to also secure funding for that trial. Next slide, please. What we do under the hood, well, there's a very small number of us, but nonetheless we do have expertise, which is complementary. So the team is myself. I'm the CEO of the company. My PhD was in cheminformatics and drug discovery. My colleague Georgia has spent all her career on biostatistics and omics data analytics. Labos is the person that puts every single thing together in the company and makes the company run, with more than 10 years experience in software architecture. And finally, great help from our scientific advisor, Aristides Doukmoutzidis. He's a professor at the pharmacology department, and he has also consulted with many companies, and we're very grateful to have him on board as well. That's it. Okay, great. We'll go to the ask then. The main possible, the main ways that we see that we can work with the industry is to start with IP licensing or co-development, depending on the maturity level of our projects. But we have, as you can see, multiple projects, and these are constantly increasing. And of course, from the early months of 2021, we will also be going for another funding round. So investment is also something that we'd be looking to establish. On the more practical side, as you can see, we do focus on multiple disorders, so scientific advice is always very, very useful. Beyond our preclinical validation, until we get to the clinical stage, there is lots of clinical and regulatory stuff that we do need to take on board. So again, there's definitely a strategy that we can use the industry for. And finally, again, based on the multiple disorders that we're looking at, some of our partner labs may not have all the appropriate animal models or what have you. So again, access to labs with clinical work is definitely something that we'd be looking for. How can we possibly help? Well, our pipeline can, first of all, suggest new candidates for a particular disorder that somebody in the industry is looking at. And this can be a single candidate, candidate combination, and our engine is also a molecular and disease agnostic. So you can plug in even your experimental molecules and you can still get an end-to-end prediction. And on that note, you can also flip it. So for existing drugs, we can find additional applications, so other disease areas. And finally, as a team, we do have a lot of overlapping expertise. So cheminformatics, bioinformatics, biostatistics, artificial intelligence, software architecture, pharmacometrics. There's a whole lot of scientific computing that we can definitely help the industry with. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the invitation here, and hopefully we can collaborate with some of you.
Εξαιρετικά, ευχαριστούμε Γιώργο. Δεν έχουμε κάποια ερώτηση, οπότε συνεχίζουμε με την εταιρεία QCell που διαθέτει ένα σύστημα απεικόνησης για μη επεμβατική διαγνωστική.
Good evening. I've very much enjoyed the presentations that have been given so far. I'm so proud for the innovation produced in my country. So I will continue with our developments. Next slide, please. I don't see whether the slide has been changed. Hello, can you hear me?
Ναι, πείτε μας, κύριε Πάλα.
Ποιο slide παίζει τώρα, δεν το βλέπω τα slides μου.
Κάντε pin στην οθόνη για να μπορείτε να βλέπετε.
Anyway, I will continue without seeing the slides. I'm now talking about the slide 2, where we present the team. So I'm a professor of the Technical University of Crete. QCell is a spin-off from the Technical University of Crete. And Manuel Raptakis is our business development based in Oxford. And we are working with a bright and brilliant team of self-motivated engineers and entrepreneurs with the R&D based in Kenya. Slide number 3, please. I would like to give you more information on our profile. We have many years operating in the field of medical devices. We managed to develop life-saving technologies, now have been becoming standard of care worldwide. We invented the medical devices that are currently globally commercialized. I am founder of Dices Medical with offices in Atlanta, Edinburgh, and Athens. We have managed to pass FDA approvals of these devices. So far, we led several international clinical trials enrolling thousands of patients. And we have numerous publications and the patents granted worldwide. Next slide, please. So now we are in front of a new adventure. Actually, I would like to say a few words of our motivation. We have gained a great deal of wisdom due to our previous experience and exposure in the innovation on medical devices. We are heading now to develop a medical device industry in Greece with international activities. Our motivation is that if you look at all the medical clinical diagnoses are performed based on clinical subjective impressions is based on the limitations of the human eye, looking just in 3 colors in a very narrow spectral band. And that is why most of the clinical diagnoses are limited in terms of both sensitivity and specificity, limited down to 65%. So in several cases, 40% of the early neoplasias are missed. So our challenge is whether it is possible to get information of the level of a biopsy or histology in vivo without tissue removal. Next slide, please. So we managed to come up with a new innovation, which is called hyperspectral imaging. And actually, instead of looking just in 3 colors, you have several channels. So it's a multi-channel vision. It is in real time. And so from each particular pixel, we calculate the full spectrum, and spectra are correlated with pathological alterations in the biochemical and the structural level of tissue. So we end up to a pseudo-color map with the colors representing different pathologies. And this is done through the correlation of curves of the spectra obtained in vivo with in vitro, and we do this through clinical trials. The technique is easy. It is supported by machine learning, artificial vision techniques, and it is patented, easy to use, and is going to be in office operation. Next slide, please. So the first product that we are now selling, it's ready. It is TRL7. It is C-marked. It is a system for dermoscopy, where different moles we can identify through this map, and we can clearly discriminate whether it is neoplastic or it is melanoma, plus several other diagnostic procedures necessary in skin, which there's no technology available today. The next product, which is TRL3, that we are working on, is an endoscope for infertility. So we look at several conditions of the endometrium to figure out whether it's a good time window to do the implantation. And we are now, we have an order for this device from a university hospital. And finally, there is a system for navigating surgical operations to do the excision in negative margin basis. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. Thank you. So these 3 devices, and next slide, please. Thank you. So during this year, we have managed to, as I said, to generate income. Although we are developing 3 devices, and we have now achieved the CE marking, devices launched. We are preparing our campaign that will start in the beginning of next year. And the final slide, please. So as I said, we are heading towards making a medical device, a Greek medical device company. We want to develop all kinds of medical scopes, endoscopes, microscopes, otoscopes. And so we have a long pipeline with advanced diagnostic capabilities and devices that are high-end devices, improving the clinical practice and the need of invasive biopsy. Thank you so much.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, κύριε Μπάλα, για την παρουσίαση. Προχωράμε με την τελευταία εταιρεία. Είναι η Tenderec, που έχει αναπτύξει ένα ανέπαφο όργανο ελέγχου της θερμοκρασίας, χρήσιμο για όλους τους δημόσιους χώρους, τους χώρους φροντίδας και υγείας, αλλά και τις επιχειρήσεις.
Hi, Maggie, and thank you for the invitation. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aphrodite, and I'm the co-founder of Tenderec, the award-winning artificial intelligence startup developing the next generation of safety technologies for the post-COVID-19 era. Our focus is on the H-Tech and SafeTech markets. If you can change the slide, thank you. Both markets are projected to grow at an annual growth rate exceeding 8% in the coming years. This is of no surprise, as the EU is home to a growing aging population that is challenged by this pandemic. Similarly, COVID-19 is driving investment in the workplace as a means to have staff return to work safely. Slide change, please. At TenderTech, we have developed two products using our bespoke heat sensor addressing these two markets. The first one is CareBox, is a TRL8, and is offered to social and healthcare organizations supporting vulnerable people at any care setting, from private homes to care homes and hospitals. And then we have SafePass, which is a TRL4, is a pivot during the COVID-19 crisis, uses the same sensor, and is offered to businesses and organizations of any size and type struggling to stay open and aiming to enhance workplace safety. Slide change, please. CareBox is a safety and remote monitoring platform designed to act as a personalized assistant to caregivers and care recipients. It enables carers to provide better personalized and preventative care services to vulnerable people using the same resources. The CareBox Assistant app enables carers to monitor daily living and night activities remotely and receive early warnings about changes in behavior. This intelligence helps carers complete comprehensive assessments and personalized care plans effortlessly. Slide change. Unlike other solutions in the market, CareBox offers an array of features using one single sensor per room. Automated accident detection, body temperature trend monitoring, and daily living activity and unusual behavior monitoring are all possible through the CareBox without the use of wearables and any user engagement from end users. A fully feed and forget system generating verifiable data and personalized health and behavior analytics, enabling carers to add context to incidents, monitor symptoms and risk factors to improve outcomes for vulnerable people. CareBox also integrates with third-party devices to create one window of information for carers to achieve savings and efficiency whilst improving quality of care. Slide change. SafePass in its own way is a quick and effective artificial intelligence-based system for screening and detecting individuals with elevated temperature. Data is collected and processed on the SafePass mobile app on the user's phone, and this enables the app user to fully maintain access and control of their data in compliance with GDPR. SafePass enables business owners and facility managers to be instantly notified and receive reliable insights to keep their staff, customers, and visitors safe. Slide change, please. Unlike other solutions in the market, SafePass is contactless, discreet, mobile, scalable in any setting, and offer at less than half of the cost of traditional thermal cameras. The small size sensors are quickly mounted on the wall, on a door or a workstation, and can be removed without any changes or damage to the infrastructure. Unlike expensive thermal cameras taking spot measurements, which are then compared to generic thresholds and are affected by environment and person-related factors, SafePass measures and analyzes personal temperature trends to generate personal thermal passes to shared spaces. Slide change, please. TenderTech was founded by myself and my co-founder Ray in 2017, and in the past 8 months, we have raised over 900,000 euros in pre-seed VC and grant funding. We've also received awards for our work with CareBox, mainly from GE Healthcare, EIT Health, and we're also one of Vodafone's top 20 5G startups ready to thrive with the rollout of 5G, which we're looking forward to seeing in Greece happening soon. Our team has expertise in machine learning, data science, embedded systems development, smart buildings, user-centered design, and business development. Over the last year, it has expanded to 2 full-time members, half of which are female, a third hold PhDs, and most of them are in Greece currently. At the moment, we are piloting our products in the UK and Greece with over 120 live sensors in the field that have detected hundreds of missed incidents, such as falls, and generated early warnings for end users. We're now working on acquire our first B2B and B2 government contracts and our go-to-market partnerships before raising our next round. So what we're looking for, slide change please, is go-to-market and distribution and manufacturing partnerships, as well as channel partners and investors to venture together in both markets we're active in, which are both booming as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. These partnerships can take the form of distribution or licensing deals or equity into our next round. So thank you for listening. Very honored for the invitation to this event and looking forward to the B2B meetings. We hope you join our vision to build a safer and more caring world for the post-COVID-19 era. Thank you very much.
Εξαιρετικά, Αφροδίτη, αυτό ευχόμαστε κι εμείς. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Ελπίζουμε ότι βρήκατε τις παρουσιάσεις συναρπαστικές όσο τις έχουμε βρει, τις πιστεύουμε κι εμείς, και ότι καταφέραμε να σας πείσουμε ότι υπάρχει σημαντική καινοτομία εκεί έξω που μπορεί να αξιοποιηθεί με αμοιβαία ωφέλη για τις επιχειρήσεις και την κοινωνία. Αναμένουμε το ενδιαφέρον σας μέσω των ερωτηματολογίων προκειμένου να προχωρήσουμε στη διοργάνωση των B2B συναντήσεων. Ευχαριστούμε θερμά τους ομιλητές για τις πολύ ενδιαφέρουσες ομιλίες τους. Ευχαριστούμε τα Funds, Μετάβαλλον, Unifund και Big Pie, αλλά και την Αθρώα για τη συμβολή τους. Και ευχαριστούμε και εσάς που